Hey guys, today I'm going to teach you about the beast and its image, perfecting the sacrificial system, and offerings to receive Satan as king. Jeffery Lee Owen, welcome to this edition of Satan's Strategic Command, dedicated to the advancement of Christian theology, explicating the mark of the beast. May God bless the reading of his holy word. Revelation chapter 17, verse 1 through 6. And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great harlot that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, decked with gold and precious stone and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. So the beast and its image is the last manifestation of injustice that the entire world will experience. Romans chapter 7, verse 12 through 14. Wherefore the law is holy, the commandment holy, just, and good. Was then that which is good made death unto me. God forbid sin, that it might appear sin, working death in me by that which is good. 1 Peter 1, 15 and 16. But as he which hath called you is holy, so be ye holy in all manner of conversation. For it is written, Be ye holy, for I am holy. So we know that once that the mark of the beast, as the image of the beast manifests the fullness of its presence, seals itself within the hearts of all flesh, that flesh is no longer cognizant that it is abiding in darkness, and that the seat of death is residing within its heart, and the evacuation of God leaves man without the appearance of evil and cognizance of evil within his heart. So this occurs before all flesh lapses, and this occurs and is the lapse of all flesh into spiritual unconsciousness. Isaiah chapter 8, verse 20 through 22. To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. And they shall pass through it, hardly bestead and hungry. And it shall come to pass that when they shall be hungry, they shall fret themselves and curse their king and their God, and look upward. And they shall look under the earth, and behold trouble and darkness, dimness of anguish, and they shall be driven to darkness. So this passage here is depicting the lack of cognizance of God's goodness and indwelt presence. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. We know this is cognizance of God's goodness and presence. 1 John 2, 15 through 18 depicts the horizontal captivity of all flesh with the spirit of Antichrist. And Isaiah chapter 49, verse 20 and 19, we have, Man that is in honor and understandeth not is like the beasts that perish. He shall go to the generations of his fathers. They shall never see light. The beast and its image and the harlot, churches of Satan and its perfected consummate union and communion, the cup of devils, fulfillment and overflow. Revelation chapter 13, verse 15 through 17. And this is the manifest presence of Antichrist. Revelation chapter 13, verse 18. Satan's works testify to his presence. Hebrews chapter 2, verse 14 to 15. For as much as ye manifestly declared to be the epistle of Christ, ministered by us, written not with ink, but with the Spirit of the living God, not in tables of stone, but in fleshly tables of the heart. And 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 8 and 9. Then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders. And we have the manifest, this is the manifest in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 8 and 9. We have the manifest presence of the beast. And of course, this is also, as the perfect union is incorporated into the hearts of men, this is the manifestation of the image to the beast also within our world. So, and of course, this is their judgment unto destruction in the presence of Holy Father God at the second advent in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 8 and 9. So while the beast and its image prepare the sacrificial system, summoning the appearance of their king, Job chapter 41, verse 1, 15, and 16 and 34, canst thou draw out Leviathan with an hook, or bore Canst thou draw Leviathan with a hook, or his tongue with a cord which thou lettest down? His scales are his pride, shut up together as with a close seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. He beholdeth all high things. He is a king over all the children of pride. So Satan's works testify to his presence, while the beast and its image prepare the sacrificial system, summoning the appearance of their king. The beast and its image is soliciting laborers today for to be inhabited by death's presence and purpose. Revelation chapter 14, verse 9 and 10, rolling out the red carpet, the very causality of the mark of the beast. Revelation chapter 13, verse 3 and 4, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him? There's no justification unto righteousness, as dead souls submit their works unto devils, sacrificing their own souls to summon their king. Romans 6:16, know ye not that to whom ye yield yourselves servants to obey, his servants ye are to whom you obey, whether of sin unto death or obedience unto righteousness. So we know Satan cannot crown himself in the kingdoms of man until he has first seated himself king in the hearts of all flesh. He captures flesh spiritually with the mark of the beast, and then we have the manifest presence of Antichrist into our world, and that's the perfect consummate union and communion in the cup of devils, fulfillment and overflow, Revelation chapter 13, verse 15 through 17, and this makes manifest the presence of Antichrist in our world, Revelation chapter 13, verse 18. The beast in its image is soliciting the worship of death upon the general God and children of man, revealed in its highest operational capacity of fraudulent righteousness, to subdue all opposition of righteousness, to conceal illicit works as iniquity, transgression, and sin from the conscience of people in democratic society, and this is what it's laboring to do. We know that it's laboring for immunity and for the concealment of its illicit works from the public consciousness. Isaiah chapter 54:16, Romans chapter 6, verse 12 through 14, which depicts the dominion of satanic rule as it captivates the creature and it labors for a civil and ecclesiastical union in the heart of all flesh. Revelation chapter 19, verse 17 through 21. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, Come and gather yourselves together under the supper of the great God, that ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bonds, both small and great. And I saw a beast, and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse, and against his army. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive in the lake of fire, burning with brimstone, and the image were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which sword proceedeth out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh. So here we have, I personally believe, the false prophet that's mentioned here in Revelation chapter 19, verse 17 through 21 is Antichrist himself, as it appears in Revelation chapter 13, verses 11 through 14, and as its presence is also heralded by the image to the beast, because the image of the beast is actually in union, in perfect union and communion with the beast, the plurality of the corporeal form of the church of Satan as the image to the beast that subjugates all flesh, and satanic power as it labors to force all flesh to receive the mark of the beast in its presence to fulfill its illicit monetary and sexual desires, is the manifest presence of the beast. So the image, when you're beholding the image of the beast, you're actually looking at the beast, and in the plurality of its numbers, it is the manifestation of Antichrist in our world. So the false prophet that is mentioned here is not only Antichrist, it is the image to the beast also. They're one and the same, because when you're talking to the image of the beast and it's pouring out the spirit of Antichrist, we know the image of the beast is one mind, one voice, and one singular vision, with Antichrist as manifested in Revelation chapter 17, verse 17. And he had For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And this is a reference to the image of the beast as it is laboring in satanic captivity to capture all flesh as a child of Satan, and is the corporeal manifestation of the church of Satan and the spirit of Antichrist as it labors to gather the final harvest unto Satan and the appearing of Antichrist. We know that Satan cannot crown, the Antichrist cannot crown himself in the kingdoms of men until he has first seated himself as king and sealed himself as king in the hearts of all flesh. So we know that the Antichrist will call fire down from heaven to captivate the souls of all his prisoners in the very final moments of earth's history. And this occurs in Isaiah chapter 14, verse 16 and 17. All they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, and that did shake kingdoms, that made the world a wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? These are people that have the mark of the beast, and this is the passages, Isaiah 14, 12 through 23, where we see Lucifer initially rebel in heaven, and then he's cast down to the earth, and the manifestation of his mark and his captivity of all flesh as his rebellion against the government of God continues and spilled over into our earth. Well, we have the captives of him with the mark of the beast beholding his glory and looking at him and saying and wondering, who is this man? Who is this man that has captivated us and will not release us from this captivity, as we are now marked with the mark of the beast? And they're wondering, they may not know that they have the mark of the beast, but they're wondering what's going on. All they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? They're wondering, is this Satan? Is this Antichrist? And they don't know. They're not able to receive it, because the light, man that abideth in honor and understandeth not, is like the beast that perish. He shall go to the generations of their fathers, they shall never see light. So they can't quite receive it unless God gives them opportunity to receive it, that they've been deceived, and that they're abiding without the habitation of God and in the fullness of the mark of the beast. Unless God gives it to them, they won't be cognizant of it. But it looks like they're very suspicious here in this passage of scripture, and so and this passage of scripture depicts the captivity as it spilled over in the spirit, and then came here. It spilled over into our world, and it captivated the creature in Satan's presence. And these people are captive; they're prisoners to Satan with the mark of the beast at this time here, and they're wondering who this man is that is the glory of himself that is standing before him as the image to the beast. As the image to the beast cultivated satanic power within their hearts for this. This is the beast that they're beholding, and the image of the beast is his ambassador. And they were captured by the image of the beast, and they're beholding the beast, and they're saying, is this the man that has captured us unto eternal condemnation within their hearts? So Revelation chapter 13, verse 13 and 14 also appears to be a parallel. Ezekiel chapter 7, verse 5 through 6 and 10, as Satan's conception and birth certificate, which not only appears in our natural order, but it also appears simultaneously in the hearts of the image to the beast. We know this is a parallel. It's a parallel. Ezekiel 7, 5 through 6 and 10 depicts man's flesh's union, intimacy, man's desire and for intimacy with death in his life. And we know that the image of the beast sold his soul to Satan as for this intimacy, so he could fulfill his own illicit lusts and desires for his own glory in the world. So we know the final solution is the platform of the beast and its image as it pours out the spirit of Antichrist upon the world. Job chapter 41, verse 1 through 5. It comes to all the world and says, I'm going to alleviate everybody's pain, and I'm going to get rid of all hypocrisy. I'm going to eliminate and exterminate all manifest presence of criminal liability. I'm going to end everybody's pain and hypocrisy and not being able to understand the true paths of righteousness. I'm going to end all this for everybody, so people don't have to witness and be in pain because of the illicit works that make them manifest in our world. And this is just a testament to the fact that people don't want to know what's true. and righteous. Jesus said, John 17:3, this is life eternal, that they might know thee, the only true God, and Jesus Christ whom thou hast sent. If they were beholding the glory of God through the gospel of Jesus Christ, they wouldn't be in pain because of the hypocrisy that they're witnessing. They would be minding their own business and doing their own works and laboring to get closer to God, instead of trying to exterminate what they perceive to be all iniquity, transgression, and sin within their environment. So the platform, the platform of the political platform of the image of the beast in the final days is the final solution. It's the final solution. We're going to end everybody's pain and suffering in beholding the things that their neighbors are doing, and the fact that they don't like their neighbors anymore, and we're going to make everything good because we're going to take away all this pain that you're beholding in the natural world. So the final solution is the platform of the beast and its image as it pours out the spirit of Antichrist upon the world. Job chapter 41 verse 1 through 5. It offers to end all flesh's pain by the appearance of hypocrisy. Matthew chapter 23 verses 1 through 39, and legislate fairness for all on pain of death. Matthew chapter 18 verses 10, Matthew chapter 10 verse 21, Matthew chapter 24 verse 10 and 12, Revelation chapter 3 verses 20, which is clear that in the presence of God, all men have freedom of choice to choose to serve God or no, and cultivate the manifestation of righteousness or iniquity within their hearts, which brings forth either a harvest of righteousness or a harvest of iniquity, transgression, and sin within their lives. And of course, Revelation chapter 20 verse 11 through 15 is the final judgment and the great white throne judgment of the image of the beast and all the children of Satan as they are about to be cast into the lake of fire. Jeffery Lee Owen, if you're edified by this program, please hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, receive notifications of future installments, and remember, you can come to the throne room of God today and receive your healing directly if you're abiding in mercy and grace as manifested in Matthew chapter 13 verses 10 through 15. Thank you.